Hunter x Hunter, Chapter 385, gives us even more of a reason to fear Prince Serdinic, Hugoro. As he continues his nen training with Theta, he, she instructs him how to successfully apply Zetsu, and that she informs him to close his eyes and drown out all distractions, noise, commotion. Let nothing halt his concentration. Serdinic does this, and even later, Theta sends out a small sliver of her aura into his shoulder. The prince's guardian Nen spirit beast continues to hover over his shoulder, observing and protecting. Theta notes the fact that the prince possesses a tremendous aura and that she has to kill him no matter what. He is too dangerous to let live. I am constantly reminded of Meruem with this guy. He is dangerous. There's this intensity in the way that the author portrays him that just makes you go, no, don't let this creature live. Don't let him gain followers, for it will lead to nothing but death. We also find that the guardian spirit beast returns once Zetsu is deactivated, showing that, if she has him use Zetsu for a longer period of time, she may be able to go in for the kill, within that window of time. Now, she even goes so far as to drop a coffee mug on the ground. However, this causes the bodyguards to come rushing into the room to see what is going on. And with this, she's able to get the prince to convince the bodyguards that they should not interfere no matter what happens. This is just wonderful strategizing on the part of Theta and the author in general, because they cover all their bases as to why the guards would not enter this room despite the fact that they're supposed to be protecting the prince. And with that, the boss orders them to stand down and let him continue his Zetsu training uninterrupted. Serdinic, though, before the continuation of the Zetsu training goes underway, warned her that even if she were to be writhing in agony before him, he would not help, which is a interesting thing to say. As he continues with his training, the the guardian spirit beast disappears. Something I have to take note of is the fact that I had wondered if the guardian spirit beast did have any kind of correlation to their nen. As we haven't really seen too many of the other princes even remotely go under nen training. So we don't really know the full scope of how actual nen application affects these guardian spirit beasts. And here we're seeing that when, someone is trained enough to willfully just kind of channel all their nen in a certain way, the spirit beast disappears, showing that it has a unconscious connection to their nen. Does that limit the amount of nen they're able to use? Does it, cause them any type of fatigue, as we've seen with Fugetsu and her worm whatever ability? It's a very interesting concept, and there's still a lot that we don't understand about how these guardian spirit beasts actually affect the users in general. And it's weird that the bloodline could be affected in this specific way. That pot that they put their hands into just adds on to the overall mystery of how these guardian spirit beasts have come into being. Regardless, you know, as Theta, you know, well, once again sends out a little bit of her aura towards the concentrating prince, he does not break his concentration. She realizes this is her opportunity. She pulls out her gun and aims it at the prince. However, as we come to find out, this is taking place at the same time as the whole banquet going on with the other princes, and Melody's performance is coming up next. Um, this was to be the interruption for Kacho and Fugetsu to run away. So this is happening concurrently with last chapter. And as Theta, just concentrating, getting herself ready to do what needs to be done, she, has no choice but to acknowledge the amount of talent that Sardinik has, and just wishing that he was someone more benevolent who could have shared his ability and gifts with other people to better their lives. But he is too dangerous to let live. She decides that once she deals with him, she will take her own life, and she promptly shoots Sardinik through the head. However, at the same exact moment, Melody's performance begins and resonates through the room, creating a landscape, the same landscape that we had seen previously, of flowers and a field and just a heavenly other world. And then in an instant, as Theta snaps out of the dreamlike state, Sardinik's body is gone. Theta's confused, and as the guards come rushing in, they all point their guns at Theta, ready to apprehend the killer of Sardinik. However, Sardinik shows up behind her, perfectly fine, saying it was all part of the training. Naturally, Theta is confused by this, just unable to understand what had happened. And as the guards scold her for going too far, she falls to her knees, almost writhing in pain, just as Sardinik said he would not assist her should that happen. They go on to say that she needs to take a rest. However, in a creepy, unnatural instant, because I'm sorry, Sardinik's guardian Nen beast is nightmarish, just absolutely unsettling. And of all things, it speaks and warns that if she should ever try to deceive Sardinik again, she will cease to be human and suffer a fate worse than death. And thus Theta passes out. The bodyguards inform Sardinik that the whole situation with time skipping ahead and them all kind of losing consciousness to a certain degree happened because of the pro hunter, Melody. Melody asks for an invitation to be sent out to Melody in order to ascertain exactly what happens, using her possible acceptance or her declining the invitation in order to gauge exactly what happened. Later that night, as Theta awakens, she has a nightmare of Sardinik once again asking if he can trust her. The talons of that Nen beast run deeper than we could ever imagine. And as Salkov, who has been watching over her, you know, as she awakens to Salkov, who has been watching over her, he tells her straight out, take a rest. Take a break from all this. Stop getting involved with the prince. And he gives her a mirror to see the damage that the Nen beast did to her face. The scratch that is spread almost like a crack, almost like she's breaking apart. right there on the spot. And it's just growing. She's been branded in a certain way. And if she continues for a third time, if she gets warned of her, transgressions in lying to the prince again, she will probably suffer a fate worse than death. But she's determined. She doesn't want to leave things as they are. Sir Dinik is too dangerous. There's something wrong about him. More so than any of the other princes, Sir Dinik is a terrible force that needs to be taken out. However, Solkov says that it's probably something to do with the guardian spirit beast, and it might quite possibly turn her into a pawn of the prince. He says that Theta should get some rest and he'll handle things, but Theta's uncertain, as neither of them have a plan. This is an intense situation here. The fact that Theta was actually able to pull the trigger, but nothing happened? Is it something within her mind because of what the Guardian Spirit Beast did? Did it actually happen? Did it erase that moment, similar to the villain of the current JoJo season, the Golden Wind? Oh, spoilers, by the way. Does it just impact what exactly he's able to do? Does this only affect people who have been scratched by the beast? People who mean harm to the prince? And if that's the case, why even let her live? Why not just do away with her on the spot? There's something more going on with why Theta is still left alive. There's something more going on with Sir Dinik and the power that he has. Because we don't really know the full scope, the extent of his guardian spirit beast. And now that he has an actual Nen beast of his own on top of that, he is too dangerous. It's just too much. I know I keep repeating this ad nauseum, but dude, you can't, like, with the wide scope of powers and abilities we've seen throughout the course of this series, someone with something like that, with the malevolence of his heart, with the guardian spirit beast that has this uncanny power that we still have no information about, and now a Nen beast on top of that, his crazy strong aura, his unnatural mindset. No. Kurapika needs to put him down like a wild dog, and I hope that moment comes soon. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. If you liked what I had to say here, leave me a like or a dislike if you didn't, and tell me what I've been doing wrong. And subscribe for more chapters of Hunter x Hunter. It probably only gets crazier from here.